Lian Li made wireless fans? Yeah, crazy, right? How the heck can a fan be wireless? There's got to be some way to power them. The fans do indeed need power, but controlling the fan speed and RGB is completely wireless. How does that even work? Let me show you all the details. Okay, so there is an LCD version, which has an LCD screen in the middle, which can display all different types of video files and also sensor information. Then there is an LED version, which Lian Li calls it, which is basically just a regular fan, and it has a Lian Li logo in the middle, silver and black. It's kind of reflective. They're available in black or white, in 3 packs, or in single packs. There are regular blade versions, and there are reverse blade versions, as we see with the red text right here. And if you're not sure what that means, regular blade fans are best positioned in the front as intake, in the rear as exhaust, or on the top as exhaust. And reverse blade are best positioned on the bottom as intake or on the side as intake. And if you do it that way, you're gonna have a nice uniform look across all of the fans. So let's go ahead and open these 3 packs and go over all of the contents. So we'll start off with the 3 pack of the LCD fans. So we've got the instructions for how to install them. We've got the controller, which only comes with the 3 pack of fans. And you have to have this controller in order to use these fans, whether they're the LCD models or the LED models. So make sure you buy a 3 pack so you can get this controller, because you need it. And there's 2 ways to use it. You can pop this cover off and you have a USB-A plug, which will plug into the back of your motherboard. Or you can use it internally with this connection. And you'll use this included cable where this side of the harness will plug into the fan controller. We've got a PWM connection on this side, which will plug into a motherboard fan header. Then we have a USB 2.0 plug, which will plug into the motherboard. So there's 2 ways to use this controller, which is pretty cool. So we've got this harness right here, which comes with the LCD fans. So this side will plug either into 1 fan or a group of fans. Then on this end, we've got a USB 2.0 plug, which plugs into the motherboard. And then we've got a PWM connection, which will plug into a motherboard fan header, or you can plug it into this included cable. So we've got this 3-way split, which only comes with the 3 pack. And we've got SATA power on this side, which will go towards your power supply. And then we have 3 PWM connections on this side. So there's 2 ways to power the fans as well, which is really interesting. So we've got the fans themselves. Here's a good look at them. Got a 1.6-inch screen in the middle. Here's the back. And I have 1 cover popped off right now, but once the screws are secured for the fan, they have these little beauty grommets where you just kind of pop them in. See if I can get this in there. There we go. And it will cover the screws. And it looks really, really clean. And it has these notches up here, which are used to daisy chain fans together. But if it's like the end of the line, let's actually connect these real quick. So if we connect these, and let's just say I'm only using 2 fans, and I don't want to either look at these, or maybe there's a radiator on this side and the tubes are coming out right here, you can rotate these 90 degrees. Let's see if I can do it. There we go. And you can remove them. So you get a nice clean look. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at the LED 3-pack. So the 3-pack of the non-LCD fans is going to be pretty much identical to the 3-pack of LCD fans. The only difference is going to be the fan cable. So this side is still identical, that plugs into a fan or a group of fans, but we've only got a PWM connection on this side. So you're not going to have to deal with that USB 2.0 connection on the non-LCD fans. So these ones are going to be a little bit easier to install, but you still get the instructions, you still get the controller, you still get the controller cable, and you still get the SATA to PWM three-way split cable. Then here's the fans themselves. So we got that reflective Lian Li logo in the middle. We still get all of our beauty covers. Here's the back, which we're actually not going to see because we're using reverse blade. And it's just reflective. And then we still have the same daisy chain method with these little notches up here. And I didn't show these on the LCD, but if you want to remove these, you just rotate it 90 degrees and you pull up. And if you want to lock it into place, just rotate it 90 degrees back. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the single packs. All right, so we've got an LCD single pack here, and we've got a non-LCD single pack. And the contents for these are super simple. We're gonna get the fan itself, and on the LCD version, you're gonna get the fan cable that's got two wires that has the PWM connection and the USB 2.0 connection. And then on the non-LCD, you're gonna get the fan cable that has the PWM connection. So once again, you're not gonna get a fan controller with the single pack, and you're not gonna get the SATA to PWM split cable with the single pack. So make sure you are buying at least one 3-pack so you can get the controller to power these fans. Okay, so let's move on to the fans themselves and how you're gonna connect these to your system. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the difference between regular blade and reverse blade. So in my right hand, we have the regular blade, and we can see the blades actually slant to the right. But on the reverse blade, you can see they actually slant to the left. But when you first look at them, they have the same number of blades. They pretty much look identical, and there's actually no markings to tell these apart. But on reverse blade, it slants to the left. And then on the regular blade, they slant to the right. And to give you an airflow visual, on the regular blade, airflow is gonna go that way, but on the reverse blade, airflow is gonna go this way. So maybe keep these with their respective boxes so you know which one's which, because it's definitely easy to confuse the two. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the connection method. So if we look at the top of the fan, we have this like larger notch that goes into this smaller section. So we're gonna line up the hooks on this side of the fan with the large part of the notch and then slide it over. And now we've got two fans linked together. Let's do the same for this one. And we just put this in, and now we've got 3 fans linked together. And since these are the non-LCD, we can use the single wire fan cable to connect these. So if you look at this side of the fan, we have this larger hole and we have this smaller hole. And then if we look at the connector, we've got a larger hook on this side and we've got a smaller hook on this side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna line it up and then we're just gonna slide it over, and then now this is actually ready to go. This is ready to be installed. And one cool thing you can do is the cable is actually coming out the right side right now, but you can pop this little cover off. And then what you can do is you can route this cable over to the left. So depending on where these fans are in your case, you can have the cleaner look and have the fans coming out, the cable coming out the right way. So there it is on the left side. So that's really cool. And then you can also wrap the cable in this little groove right here if you wanted to. So to even clean the cable up even more, this is gonna be really hard to do with one hand, but you can kind of wrap this through right here and then clean this up. So it actually kind of shortens the cable a little bit too. And then I did not do that very cleanly, but once you take a little time, you can get that in there. Okay. So let me go ahead and break this cable off real quick, and then we'll break one of these fans off. So you can mix and match non-LCD and LCD fans. So the connection method is the same. So now we have one LCD and 2 non-LCD, but what you have to keep in mind is anytime you're using an LCD fan in any group, you've got to use the 2-wire cable. So let's get these hooked up. So the connection method is the same. We've got the 2 hooks that line up, slide it over, and now this is ready to go. And what you can do is you can actually add another LCD to a group, but the max you can run in a group like this is 2. So we've got 2 LCD and 2 non-LCD. So that's really interesting. So let's break this one off. Let's break this one off. And we'll put these back. And then the LCD fans we'll go ahead and take a look at real quick. And once again, the connection method is the same. So we've got a group of 3 right here, and the max LCD fans you can run in a group all as one is 3. So you can't run more than 3. So you can't run 4 in a group. And to repeat myself again, you have to use the 2-wire cable when an LCD fan is in any group. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these set up how they'll be set up in my system. So we've got the first connection method laid out right now. We've got 3 reverse blade LCD fans on the side as intake. We've got 3 non-LCD reverse blade fans on the bottom as intake. And we've got 2 regular blade LCD fans on the rear as exhaust. And both of the LCD groups are each plugged into a USB 2.0 header and a fan header on the motherboard. And then the non-LCD fans have the single wire, and those are plugged into a fan header on the motherboard. And we've got our fan controller plugged into an available USB port on the back of the motherboard. And alternatively, we could use this cable with the controller, where this side plugs in the controller, and then we've got the USB 2.0 connection and the PWM, but I'm already out of USB 2.0 ports on the motherboard, so I'd have to buy some kind of splitter or some kind of USB 2.0 controller in order to use that. So we're just gonna go ahead and use this, but if you have the available ports, you can also connect it that way. So let me show you the second connection method in which I'm going to be using for my system. So we're going to pretend that this little box is my power supply, but instead of plugging the PWM cable that comes from each group of fans straight into the motherboard, I'm going to plug them into the 3-way split cable that goes to the SATA plug, which goes to your power supply, because I think it's going to be a lot easier to hide the cables this way rather than each of the PWM connections going straight to the motherboard. But I'm still going to use the fan controller that plugs into an available port on the back of the motherboard. That's really interesting, but I think it's about time we install these. Agreed. Those look pretty sweet, and the install was super easy. The install was super easy. Okay, so the rear group of LCD fans, I've got the 2 wires coming out of the top and then going towards the back. For the bottom fans, I've got the single wire coming out of the side over here and then going towards the back. For the side fans, I've got the 2 wires coming out of the bottom and going towards the back. And then everything is actually tucked in this rear drive caddy. And it came out really clean. As you saw, I used that SATA to PWM 3-split cable, and everything is tucked in here. Made it super simple. And then the LCD groups, I've got the USB 2.0 connections plugged into the hub on my Lian Li power supply. So this is my AIO, the 2 LCD groups, and then the bottom one is the motherboard signal. So it came out really clean. really easy to manage the cables. And then the controller, I used an available USB port. So really, really simple. And you're right, they look really, really clean. Okay, now show me the software. All right, so the software that Lian Li provides is called Connect 3, and per their instructions on their website, you're gonna download it and install it, and you're gonna have to restart your machine. And I actually had to reboot a couple of times for things to work properly, but since then, everything has been working perfectly. And once you launch Connect 3, you're gonna go over to Settings, you're gonna see this Update tab, and you're gonna wanna make sure everything is fully up to date before proceeding. Then once you get all your updates done, you're gonna head over to the wireless sync setup, and then you're gonna see each of your groups, and then you can identify each group. So we're gonna click this little icon right here, and you can see it glows a really obnoxiously bright green yellow. So we know those are rear, and then once you first launch this, these are not gonna be named how they are right here. So I named this one rear. Click on this one, you can see those are the side fans. Then if we click here, we can see that these are the bottom fans. So I know what each group is. And then you're gonna see the status over here. This is gonna be a broken chain link. So you're gonna click each of these and it's gonna bind it to the software. And then from there, everything is going to work properly. And you can see you can actually have up to 10 groups per controller, which is absolutely insane. So I'll be adding some Strimmer wireless PSU cables in here pretty soon, so I have a ton of room for those. So once they are bound to the software and everything is working, we're gonna head over to SL Wireless Fan Utility. And this is basically where all of your adjustments are going to happen. So you can see an outline of the fans right here, and then you can actually hover over each section, and this is what you're gonna adjust. So let's take a look at the LCD screen. So we've got what's displaying on each LCD screen. I've got my Dancam logo. It's just a JPEG put up on both of these. And I can flip the screen if I want to. If it's obviously not displaying properly, you can see it's the right orientation right now. But if I needed to, I can flip the orientation of the screen. And then if we click this drop down, you can see we can do pictures, we can do GIFs, we can do video files, sensors, and animations. So I do have a GIF loaded. Here's a cat looking at a computer with glasses on. I don't have a video file currently on here, but you can upload MP4s. You can do all different kinds of sensors, from CPU temp, GPU temp, CPU load to GPU load. And there are 5 different styles as well. So we got style 1, we got style 2, we got style 3, style 4, and style 5. So you can keep an eye on how your system is doing. And then we also have animations, and these are the stock ones that they include. It's a rocket taking off, and then like a city skyline. Oh, it's Spider-Man, excuse me. It's Spider-Man climbing a building. So those are the LCD screens. There's a ton of different things you can do with these. So we're gonna hover over the lighting effects and go ahead and click this. So we have a ton of different profiles we can use, and then you can actually adjust each part of the fan separately. So you can adjust the outer part and the inner ring, just the inner ring, or just the outer part. So let's just do both at a time how I have them. And right now they're just set to a white. And then if we click here, we can go to rainbow. And then we can apply to all. So now we've got rainbow vomit going everywhere. We can do rainbow morph. So that's actually pretty cool. And there's a ton of different options. So there's like a blinking or breathing, excuse me. runway. That's really interesting. It's really bright right now, so I apologize if that's burning your eyes. And there's a ton more. What's gradient ribbon? Ooh, that's really cool. Let's take a look at a couple more. We got hourglass. Whoa, that is pretty intense. Endless. Let's try this one. Wow, that's actually really cool. It's a party up in here. Then you can set the colors for each different zone. And then let's go ahead and actually turn down the brightness. I probably should have done that from the start. So let's just go back to static because I'm old and that's what I like. And it unfortunately seemed to not have saved my profile. And if you know RGB, it's a bit difficult to find the exact color that you like. Okay, so that looks good, but it is way too bright. Apply to all. So that's pretty close to where I had it. You kind of have to go more orange. So if you're trying to find white, just keep in mind that it is not easy. Okay, so that's getting a little bit closer. Let's set it one more time and then we can move on. Apply to all. Okay, that's close to where it was, at least on camera. It looks close. Okay, so that's what you can do with the LCD fans. So let's take a look at the bottom. And the bottom is going to be the exact same thing, but you obviously don't have the LCD screen. You're just going to adjust the lighting effects on the outside part. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the fan pump profile. So these are the same as any other fan. So you can click a group. So we'll go ahead and select rear. And then I like to set my curves how I like them. I like my fans as quiet as possible. So I keep mine on a very flat curve until around 75C. And my machine barely gets over 65C. So my fans stay pretty much a static 600 to 700 RPM all the time. But you can adjust your curves right here if you want to. So if I pull these up, you're not going to be able to hear them. I can apply to all. And then now you can see the fans adjust immediately and they're all up to about 1,000 RPM, which honestly isn't that loud. So let's bring these back down to where I had them, about right there. So there's your fan profiles. And basically everything is done in this fan utility, and there is a ton of different options. So it's been really cool to mess around with and kind of see what I like. So let's go back to my LCD screens. Let's click this one. Let's go back to picture and let's select my Dancam logo that we had before. So in the back, I've got my Dancam logos. And then on the right, I've just got some AI generated images of my logos and one of me and my cat Fred. So overall, pretty cool and really easy to use. And it's been working extremely well. I appreciate the thorough explanation, my dude. Any final thoughts on them? So I keep seeing people mention Lian Li's usage of the word wireless with these fans. And are these fans completely wireless? Nah, you do need some kind of power in order for these to work. But is fan speed and RGB control wireless? Yes, and it works extremely well. I've used these for probably the past 7 days or so, and they've just worked. I haven't had any weird fan speed fluctuations or RGB changes or dropouts or anything like that. So really cool to see Lian Li just continue to innovate and try something new, because who would have guessed we'd have wireless fan speed and RGB control for fans? And Lian Li always seems to be the ones to be the most innovative. They just try new things, and they're getting a ton of flack for using the word wireless, but these fans are super cool and they work really well. They look great. Lian Li is definitely known for making some good looking RGB fans, and these are no exception. The LCD screens are absolutely insane. They don't really come across that well on camera, but in person, the resolution, the brightness, they are extremely crispy. So great looking fans. And if you're in the market for a premium fan, I think these should be looked at. They are expensive, but any premium fan on the market right now is expensive, so you kind of got to pay to play. If you currently own like Infinity fans or the SLV2s or the LCDs, it may not be worth the upgrade, but if you're new to Lian Li or you're using a completely different fan, I definitely think you should check these out. So far, I am really enjoying them, and I can't wait to continue to test new things out and just use them on a daily. So thank you for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Comment down below what you think. Drop a like to support your boy, and I'll see y'all in the next video.